One, hey, this is Billy Goldfeder answering some questions from you as part of our What's Your Problem series hosted by Fire Rescue One and Lexipol. This time, I'm not answering a question. I just want to share with you a story, a personal story that impacted me, and it's about prostate cancer. So I'm pretty thrilled that I've heard from a lot of people through the interview with Mark Bayshore and some others about my experience with prostate cancer. So I thought I'd take an opportunity in this format, in this program, to just share with you my story, and perhaps it'll impact you, and either you, if you're a male, obviously there's a direct impact, but if you're a female, people you work with, your family, loved ones, etc. Also, this applies to everybody. So prostate cancer. So how did I determine or figure out that I had prostate cancer? Well, I had no clue. Number one is I was adopted, so I had no previous family history knowledge, right? So that was one, when they tell you, what's your family history? I don't have one. Tell me about yours, right? There's nothing else to talk about. So right now I'm 66 years old. I'll be 67 very soon. And each year I've gone for my annual physical, and they've done the PSA test, they've done the gloved hand test, and so far so good up until about 2 years ago. And they noticed my PSA was starting to rise. They noticed no other problems. When they did the gloved hand test, they did not identify any change in my prostate, okay? And so my doctor said, maybe we ought to get it checked. And I'm like, no, maybe I want to get it checked. Because she noticed when she did my PSA test, my number was starting to go up a little bit, okay? So PSA basically measures the activity in your prostate, and if the number's going up, that's a warning sign. Doesn't mean it's the end of the world, okay? It just means you need to further look into this, because some males have a changing number, and it's not a problem. Well, mine was a problem. So as we noticed, the PSA number was going up, and this was during COVID, so I waited about a year. I went back to my doctor, and it went up a little bit more. So her and I both agreed at this point, look, we're definitely going to get you checked. So I go to the Cincinnati Urology Group. I live and work in the greater Cincinnati area. And they set me up with a doctor who ran some tests, including a biopsy. Now, I want to mention about the biopsy. Some of you I've spoken to, you said that your biopsy was painful. It should not be painful. You should be put into a sleep similar to when you go for a colonoscopy sleep, sort of like just a little bit of a daze. But some of you have said your doctors have not used anything to calm you, no anesthesia. That's ridiculous. Because I'll tell you, through my entire prostate cancer experience, I suffered no pain, nor should you. So they get the results, and they did all sorts of tests on me, CAT scans and all sorts of stuff to figure out what's going on. And they did determine that I did have prostate cancer. And when they did my biopsy, so there's two numbers in cancers. For the purpose of this discussion, I'm certainly not a doctor, but I'm going to share with you my experience, okay? So one, you've all heard of stages. What stage is your cancer? And you'll hear stage 3 or 4 is, oh my goodness, or you'll hear stage 1, oh, not too bad. Well, mine was a stage 1. So initially that's, hey, not too bad. But they also do a test when you have prostate cancer called a Gleason score. So if your stage number identifies where your cancer is today, your Gleason score identifies the speed or how aggressive your cancer is, okay? 0 is great, 10 is terrible, and anything below basically a 5 or a 6, they'll probably monitor you versus do anything else at that point, right? But mine was a 9.5. Little concerning. Now, I got to tell you, throughout this whole thing, I was never scared. I didn't think, oh my God, I'm going to die. Oh, why me? Actually, the oh, why me part was, oh, why not me? Right? I mean, who am I? Am I someone so special I won't get cancer, right? And then, add 50, what'll be, 49 years of as a firefighter. Something's going to pop up at some point, right? And that's what I was thinking. So when I got diagnosed, I wasn't scared. What worried me and what got me emotionally is my grandkids. I have 6 grandkids. I've got obviously their parents, my kids, my wife Terry, all that. That's really what got me emotionally. But I'm figuring, you know what? I'm going to do my best to deal with this. And I swear to you, this is true. I dealt with it as if I pulled up to a fire, I sized it up, and I determined what we're going to do about it. That's the same thing. And I kind of approach life like many of you probably, right? I pretty much approach life the same way. All right, here's a problem. What are we going to do with it? And in typical firefighter fashion, let's fix it right now. That doesn't always work that way. So I go back to my doctor. He says, okay, here's the deal. This is your numbers. This is, we need to do something about it, but you have 2 choices. You can do radiation or you can do surgery. Both statistically have pretty much the same outcome. Pretty good outcomes. I chose surgery, and I'll tell you why. I reached out to the Firefighter Cancer Support Network, and I cannot emphasize enough to you how critical that is if you are diagnosed or have any questions related to cancer as a firefighter or the family member of a firefighter. Please reach out to the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. Big deal. And they will set you up with someone who will walk you through the process. Typically someone who's had the same cancer you do. So that's kind of cool. They know what you're going through, etc., and you can learn from that. And my decision to have the surgery was based upon the fact that it was my understanding if I do the radiation, and the radiation basically goes in and destroys the prostate and potentially some areas around it. If you do the radiation, the surgery is more complicated if your cancer becomes more complicated or if it comes back. Whereas if you have the surgery and you have a recurrence of cancer, which is, by the way, very low, then they can still do radiation. So I chose to put radiation in staging and kind of let's go with the surgery, let's get it done, etc., etc. What's interesting is before I had that conversation with my doctors and with the Firefighter Cancer Support Network folks, I was 100% to do the radiation, but it changed my mind. So that's what I did. So what happens? So they moved relatively quickly, not overnight, but we need to schedule this in the next few weeks. Because why? My Gleason score was indicating a fast-moving cancer. And what they don't want is they don't want the cancer go past your prostate. They want to keep it contained to your prostate. They want to keep it out of the rest of your body, right? Big deal. So what was the surgery like and the prep and all that? Piece of cake, honestly. It's more discomfort going through a colonoscopy and having to drink that crap than I did for my prostate cancer. I checked in the hospital. They did the surgery. It took about 4 hours, and I was out for probably another 4 or 5 hours after that, and I don't remember much of it. And after that, I went home the next day. Now, 2 o'clock in the morning after the surgery, they get you up, they want you walking and moving along, and you don't really care it's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, oh my God, 2. Doesn't matter. You've been laying all day, they put you to sleep and all that stuff, so you're fine. You're actually anxious to get up because you'd like to move around and walk a little bit and see how things going. Now, they also insert a catheter into your penis, and that controls your going to the bathroom. The good news is you don't have to worry about going to the bathroom while you have that catheter in. It takes care of that for you, as far as going pee. Now, that stayed in for about a week, and they actually tape a bag to your leg. And again, I want to talk to you just for a moment about how emasculating it can be. You know what? Forget that. We're talking about saving your life. So you get something stuck in your penis, you get a bag taped to your leg. Who cares? We're saving your life. The bag's going to be gone soon. They're going to pull the tube out soon. Not a big deal, right? So, what was it like my first week? Don't remember much, okay? I do remember there was some surgical pain. Now, my surgery was arthroscopic, and it was all robotic. See, my doctor never touched me. My doctor worked a computer and like a robot that handled the whole thing through the entire event. So that was kind of cool, right? And so they put 4 little holes in my stomach, which then gets them down to that prostate area, and that was it. I'm back home a week after I go back to the doctor. So what was it like at home? I told you it was a little bit. I didn't remember much. It was a little painful, because you did have some surgery. Nothing terrible. You do need a spouse, a partner, someone close to you to be around you for that first week or so. You really do want some support there just in case you get a little dizzy or a little weak or whatever. I didn't have too much problems, but it was good to have, obviously, my wife Terry there with me. You only have to go number 2. You don't have to go number 1 because that's taken care of for you. And really, it was not horrible. Uh, I go back to my doctor the end of that week. And by the way, he called me within, hours of the surgery and said, hey, we got it all. So the good news is he took out my prostate. He got the cancer. They did have to remove some lymph nodes around my area, in that area down there. So what was that like? So I do have some numbness around some of around my leg area because that's the lymph nodes are tied to some nerves in that area. Nothing terrible, but you do feel a little bit of a weird sensation on your legs and stuff like that. At least I did. Not everybody does. And a week later, I go back to the doctor. The PA removes the tube, and I'm back to going to the bathroom. So now, 2 big questions people have: incontinence and sexual function. The first thing, let's talk about incontinence. You are going to wear a diaper pad, depends, whatever it is, for the first, some people a couple of months, some people a year. It depends. I was wearing a Depends for about 30 days, 45 days. And I was very fortunate and blessed that I had little to no incontinence issues. In other words, yes, there'd be a little bit of dribble from here, from time and time, from time to time. But again, that's why you're wearing that diaper. Their doctor is going to tell you to do some Kegel exercises, okay? And that's, you look it up, you'll figure it out, or talk to your wife if you're married, or sister or mom. But it basically strengthens the muscles down in the area that will help you control your peeing. So I did the exercises. I did exactly what they told me to do. And by the way, I was up and walking. I doing about a mile walk about a week after surgery, so that felt really good. But I did have to wear a pad, and I did have a couple of dribble problems. I never experienced just fully pee in your pants. I never went through that. I always felt like, oh, got to go to the bathroom. So I went, and if there was a little dribble, the pad took care of it, but nothing too terrible. Now, again, it can last up to a year like that, so don't get into shock if after a month or 2 you're still dealing with that. That's how it works, okay? And again, remember, you're now cancer-free. So a little bit of dribble, a little bit of problem, you'll be okay with that. As time went on, it got better. I am now 9 months post-surgery. I had it in October. And I do not wear a pad. I do not wear a diaper. Nothing. I don't have to use anything at all. But my rule is if I see a bathroom, I visit, no matter what. I don't wait anymore. Sort of like in the past, if I was in a meeting or having a conversation with you and I had to go to the bathroom, I knew I had to go, but I got 20, 30 minutes. I'll go when I need to go. I don't do that anymore. If I pass a bathroom, I use it. And if I feel like I have to pee, I say, hey, I got to go. I'll be back in a minute. I don't delay it. And that's kind of the way I've been able to maintain it. What about sexual function? Oh, by the way, I do want to share with you, about 6 months into it, I did develop an infection. They weren't sure what it was from. I got a fever. I had some problems. They thought maybe it was COVID. Turned out that, and your doctor's going to tell you that the surgery is as close to perfect as possible, but it's not perfect. And there can be what they call leakage, internal leakage of stuff. Okay, I'm not a doctor. When they do the surgery, and again, it's super precise, but a little teeny something got out from my lymph nodes and created an abscess. Okay, and again, we're talking firefighter to firefighter here. I'm using language you understand. And so I did have to go to the hospital. They did have to put a tube in my side to drain the infection, but that's the only problem I've had. And that does happen it's not common, but it's not shocking if that does happen to somebody that's gone through this surgery. But since then, I've been great. I really have no indications at this stage that I had prostate cancer except for the sexual function. Now let's talk about that. And it's only me and you talking, so nobody else is hearing us, right? Okay. There is a change. You will have to look at each case differently, but you may lose your ability to get an erection. You may lose your ability to get what you used to consider a really good erection. Everybody's a little different. There are exercises and there are things the doctor will share with you on how you can gain that back. And I am definitely more improved now than I was prior, right after the surgery. But it does take time. It is different. As I wrote in an article, I'm not the sexual dynamo that I used to be, but I'm certainly there, enjoying it. But it is different, and it will take some time to get back to what I consider to be full function. But you know what? I'm being honest with you. I'm not going to bullshit you. Things are good, okay? I'm enjoying things. Bathroom-wise, I'm fine. And look, I'm cancer-free. Now, because my Gleason score was so high, my doctor did say that I am at high risk for other cancers. Oh, no. Well, yeah, oh, no. But what am I going to do about that? I'm going to do what the doctor said. Every 4 months, I go back, they take my blood and make sure that everything's going okay. I go for a regular physical. I will monitor myself. I'll make sure that nothing unusual is going on. But you might think, is that a way to live? Well, hell yeah, it's a way to live compared to rotting away from prostate cancer if I never got it checked, if I never went back for checkups, things like that. I would have a whole different story to tell you. So that's my story. I feel good. I exercise. I got released back to work on Thanksgiving. Obviously, following my surgery, I did have to take another leave when I had the infection surgery. So overall, though, I'm good, man. I got more time. I'm going to be with my family longer. I'm going to be doing this stuff with you guys longer. And look, the key is you got to get checked. And that's where we're going with this. And that's how I'm going to wrap this up. You must get checked. You must, if you're 40 years old or over. I started a website called 40 Plus Fire, the number 40plus fire.com. 40 Plus Fire. If you're 40 years old and you have gone or go to fires, you must get your PSA and you must get the digital gloved hand check. Not one, not the other, both. It is no big deal. Forget about your manliness and all that silly stuff. We're talking about saving your life here. And look, unfortunately, we're not always the best in taking care of ourselves, but this is what I want you to do. I want you to think whose pictures are in your iPhone or your whatever phone you have, your smart device, right? Who's important to you in your life? I mean, here's my grandkids here, right? Let me see where they're at here. I want to share this with you. And that's my babies right there. And you really can't read it, but it says, "You got this, Poppy." And that's all 6 of my grandkids holding up different signs that said, "You got this, Poppy." That's why you want to get checked. Because your partner, your wife, your husband, your spouse, whoever's important in your life, your mom, your dad, your kids, your grandkids, they need you, right? So as you get older, and that means 40 and above, as a firefighter, you are a greater risk for getting certain types of cancers, and prostate cancer is one of the top ones. So get yourself checked. Check out 40plusfire.com. All you need to know, pretty much everything I covered here today, plus an article I wrote about my cancer, plus there's a checklist you can download to hand to your physician. It says basically, "Hey doc, I'm a firefighter. Here's certain things you need to look out for me versus the regular public because I am at higher risk and greater risk for cancers." I hope this has been informative to you. I try to be as blunt and as honest about this as possible, and I wish you luck. You can reach out to me anytime through Lexipol or Fire Rescue One. I'm glad to take time to help you through the process. Okay, thanks so much and take care. Hey, send me your ideas, your thoughts, your problems, issues. I'll be glad to address them on here. I hope you find this of interest. Take care.